Chapter 18. The next day the townspeople of Oaks Crossing came out to survey the damage the storm had wrought. Some houses were missing shingles, some businesses were missing signs, and a few trees had taken out some hydro lines, creating power outages. At the Happy Camper Resort, the entire kayak shack was gone, blown out to the lake. Fortunately, that was the extent of the damage Ivy could see beyond some branches down. All of the campers and tenters were okay, perhaps a little soaked through, but otherwise okay. The new roofs held up, and the swimming pool was full. Overall, they hadn't fared that bad. "I'm sorry it didn't work out with Mary," I commented to Topher as I helped load his gear in the rental car. "I'm okay with it," nodded Topher as he stuffed his sleeping bag into the trunk of the car. "She was a nice person, but there wasn't any spark." "I'm going to miss you," I mentioned. "I fully intend to come back for next year's reunion with the guys. He did offer the family discount," remembered Topher with a grin. "You have Ben's number to use if there are any more glitches with the booking program?" "I do," I nodded. "Thank you again for all your help." "When does the boyfriend get out of prison?" he asked. I laughed. "He's not my boyfriend. At least, not formally yet. Luke is supposed to be released this afternoon with all charges dropped." "Good. I'm glad for you." Topher shut the trunk. "Can I have a hug goodbye?" "Of course." I reached out to give him a hug. "You take care of yourself." Topher released me and with a wave got into the car. Soon enough he was driving out of sight. "It's too bad he and Mary didn't hit it off," frowned Thelma as she came over. "I wonder why it didn't work out." "I think Mary has her heart set on James Carmichael," I casually mentioned. Thelma's eyes lit up and George shook his head. "No interfering." "They just need a little push," murmured Thelma with a twinkle. "No." George rolled his eyes and wrapped an arm around Thelma's shoulders. "We will see you at the celebration, Ivy." "See you then," I agreed. Checking my watch, I saw I was running a little late. Warren and the state troopers had found Burmer, who insisted Bea and I had tried to run him over. Fortunately, with having heard Burmer's plan to kill us over the phone, the state troopers weren't believing him. Topher, George, and the accountants from Topher's law firm had found the falsified invoices easily since they now knew what they were looking for. They gave over all the evidence and their conclusions to the investigators, who put the entire Oaks Crossings police force on suspension until the investigation was complete. The election was also postponed until further notice, much to the relief of Mayor Whitcomb, who apologized for not cooperating with me since Burmer had threatened his family. Salter was also taken in for questioning. It was expected charges would be laid soon in the case. James Carmichael had nailed the number on the head. In just under 2 years, it was suspected the 5 men had stolen just under $5 million from Oaks Crossing. Each of the 5 men involved had added an unearned $1 million to their bank accounts. Grabbing my purse and keys, I dropped Cookie and Cupcake off at the office with Conrad, who was squinting at the computer as he took a reservation by phone. He gave me a thumbs up, and I waved. Getting into the SUV, I was headed out of the campground when I received a call from Tawny Tilbury. I debated answering, as I didn't want to be any later than I already was. Yet I decided I owed Tawny for the many things she had done for me. Fortunately, Luca had Bluetooth, and my phone was already connected to his system for hands-free driving. I hoped Tawny was going to ask a simple question for the upcoming celebration in town for Luca's return. "Hi, Tawny," I smiled as I answered. "Oh, dear," replied Tawny. "Ivy, could you come over?" "I will be just a moment. I know I'm asking a lot for the day Luca is supposed to return, but I know you will understand exactly how to deal with this." "What is it, Tawny?" I asked. "Are you certain it can't wait?" "Winifred is in trouble." Tawny's trembling voice came over the phone. "I can't get at her. Please, would you come? The poor cat is trapped." I sighed. I knew I would be upset if something were to happen to Cookie or Cupcake. Glancing at my watch, I knew I was going to be late. "Okay, I will be right there." "Thank you," gushed Tawny. "I knew you were just the person to call." Changing my direction, I headed into Oaks Crossing and made my way to Tawny Tilbury's home. Driving into her laneway, I shut off the SUV and hopped out carefully. "Tawny?" I asked as I pressed on her doorbell. There was no answer, so I knocked loudly. "Dear, I'm in the backyard," called Tawny from the side of the house. "I suppose I should have told you when you were on the phone." I quickly joined her as she headed around the side yard to the back. "You said something about Winnie being trapped. Is she okay?" I knew just how much Tawny valued her prize-winning Persian cat, Winifred. She loved the house cat and would be devastated if anything happened to her pet. Winnie? Oh, Winnie is perfectly fine, dear. Tawny blinked at me with owlish eyes. I frowned, wondering if Tawny's mind was slipping. You said on the phone there was something wrong with Winifred. I think you said she was trapped. I lied, smiled Tawny. What? Why? I looked at her in disappointment and some confusion. I don't understand. I thought I should save you the trip up to the prison, chirped Tawny. It wouldn't be very nice of me to let you drive all the way to the prison to pick up Luca when he isn't there. What do you mean he isn't there? Now I really was concerned for her well-being. I was told when his release was. Warren came by and got me a little early, a male voice said. I thought I would surprise you and get you to myself for a few hours before we have to meet up with everyone in town. I turned around to see Luca smiling at me. For a moment I was completely speechless. I think I will get some tea and biscuits, decided Tawny, tactfully retreating to her home. Surprised? Asked Luca, holding out a hand. Very, I managed, taking his hand and letting him draw me into a hug. I closed my eyes, leaning against him, and just enjoyed knowing that he was safe. Okay, sighed Luca, you can say it. I grinned, tilting my head back. I told you so. I told you all the wonderful people in the community of Oaks Crossing would help me get you out of that awful prison. I absolutely told you so, and you should have had more faith in me. Are you done? He quirked an eyebrow. Thought about it for a moment before shaking my head. Not likely. Luca nodded. Then how about we make a trade? What sort of trade? I asked suspiciously, still appreciating being in his arms. You can have one more I told you so, and I will take you on a real first date, bargained Luca. I shook my head. I think we would have a first date anyways, whether or not I gave up my I told you so rights. True, Luca said thoughtfully. How about you giving up the I told you so, because I have been offered the position of chief of police, and I can on occasion, if the circumstances warrant it, perhaps consult with you for your opinion on cases. I bit my lower lip. I would never be able to say I told you so again, not even a variation of it. No, resolutely replied Luca. Are you taking the position? I questioned. I think I better take the job, dryly stated Luca. Considering how the department has been run, I can see the need to improve things. Deal, I smiled happily. We had a kiss to seal the bargain, which led to more kisses. Then we reluctantly stopped when Tawny called that tea was ready. We should have tea with her, noted Luca. You secretly do like old people, I remarked as we slowly made our way up to the house. Someday we will be old people, he commented in return. We could live in the campground, I mused, teach the grandkids how to bake, fish, dive off the dock, and go kayaking. You think we're going to be together that long? Luca opened the door for me, a twitch of his lips telling me he was amused by my ramblings. Why not? I shrugged with a grin. It could happen. There will be a new kayak shack, though. The old one blew over in the storm last night. Please don't tell me you found a body under the floorboards, sighed Luca as he followed me into Tawny Tilbury's kitchen. Why would you think I would find a dead body under the floorboards? I huffed. You seem to find things, he mentioned dryly, or they find you. Well, I haven't checked under the floorboards yet, I murmured, thinking about the possibility. There could be buried treasure under there instead. That would be nice. Then I would have all the funds I need to finish fixing the campground. I thought the campground was doing well, inserted Tawny as she poured the tea. It is, I nodded. Business has been picking up, and if we stay in budget, we should easily make it to next season, where I can really start putting things back into rights with the seasonal income. Luca watched me as he took a biscuit. Yet you still want to check under the kayak shack now. You know I do, I laughed. You put the idea in my head, and now I want to know what might be there. Don't you? Tomorrow, said Luca firmly, taking my hand in his. We will look tomorrow. Let's just enjoy today.